So in a few weeks, one of you will have the good fortune to be picked as the sample or experimental design garden of all the students. And I'm making this video now at the location of last year's students. So this is Alistair's house, and his name was drawn out of the hat as the garden we're going to go visit. And I thought it would be great to show you this garden because it illustrates how important design is on a number of different levels. Now, one of the things that you're all going to be doing or have done is filled out the landscape questionnaire. And one of the things Alistair had on his questionnaire was that he wanted to do this project himself. That was actually a big core value, was a fun and exciting thing to do himself. And I looked at this project, and I want you to pan around and take in the whole site, and it goes way off to the left there beyond what we can see. I looked at this project and I thought, Alistair's one guy, he can't do this by himself. There's a lot of grading and heavy equipment operation that needs to be done. But Alistair grew up on a Scottish estate operating farm equipment. And so the thought of buying him this excavator over here was not too intimidating. And so I knew that that was the perfect machine for the job. I used to own one of these, and up in Washington State where I did a lot of land development and equipment operating, this one machine would save me 9 people, nine laborers, and allow me to single-handedly do an enormous amount on a site. And what this machine is it's got a thumb so it can grab plants and stumps and rocks. It's got a 4-foot bucket for the large grading. It's got a blade. It's got an air-conditioned cab. And I worked out that Alistair could buy it used and sell it again 2 years later for $5,000 to $10,000 less at worst case scenario, or possibly the same price as he bought it. And so our design relationship actually began with Alistair hiring me to buy him this machine, to find a good machine and get it on site. And then the design didn't stop there, because the next part of it was we worked out, because this machine is actually helpful for me in my work sometimes, the fee that I charged Alistair to broker the machine is actually being used in free use of the machine, and so there's a win-win there. And what I'm trying to illustrate is that design is not just a piece of paper. It's not a pretty drawing. It's actually taking a project and bringing it into alignment with your values in as many ways as possible. And so, and another thing that we've been looking at here was with a goal of keeping costs down on an enormously big project is what's the design of bringing all the materials we need on site with as little cost as possible. And so what you're seeing is piles of broken concrete that were delivered for free, and you can see the first wall being built here. You're seeing piles of concrete over on this side that's going to be used for the inside of what is a wonderful pond. All of this is a area of patchwork recycled carpet, again delivered for free. And so one of the, and this enormous pond, which you might think is extraordinarily expensive, with Alistair doing a lot of the work himself and following my guidelines on how to, use recycled materials that just happens to be in alignment with his values. We're doing this whole pond for about the same cost as professionally installing a similar area of lawn. And then you might think, well, wow, what an enormous waste of water and the maintenance and all this. But as it turns out, once you have a properly lined pond, and we're going to be using, putting the liner in the next few days, once you've got a properly lined pond, a big area like this will actually use less water than the area in front. This whole area where you see the sand pile and the concrete, all of this is going to be lawn because we needed some area for play and also, contrast for the pond. But that lawn is going to be higher maintenance, even with a riding mower, than the water. It's also going to use more water than the pond because there's very little water that evaporates off of a pond once it's filled. But a lawn in the summer needs to be regularly watered, and of course in the winter the rainwater will keep both the pond and the lawn wet. And so we've designed not only a design that includes, European style, very low maintenance shrubberies and rhododendrons in the back, a beautiful lawn that is in scale with this enormous pond and this enormous house and this enormous piece of land, but we've also designed the working relationship, starting with the buying of the machine and doing some, consulting with Alistair, and having me do some of the more complicated or intricate bits of the irrigation system and perhaps some other things. That working relationship has been as important of a design detail as the design of the garden itself. And I want to walk you and just show you one more thing, which is, and actually, this tree, by the way, over here, we've just transplanted. It used to be in the middle of the garden, so the machine allows, very big trees, which we had a good number of on this site, to be moved. So that was, another nice, feature of the machine, and that allows trees to be saved, because normally a tree like that would need to be cut and you'd plant something new. But over here, looking over through the cypress, you can just see the tip of a very large pile of wood chips. And there's actually about 100 yards of wood chips in that pile over there. And those wood chips are going to be used instead of mulch. Again, totally free with Alistair's resourcefulness. And then finally, as you look down here, you can't tell, but there's been about 20 or 30 dump truck loads full of dirt. Has it been that amount, Alistair?
About that, yeah.
Yeah, so about 20 or 30 dump truck loads of dirt delivered absolutely free to Alistair from construction sites in the area. And what we've done with that soil is we've raised up that area of the pond was already a valley. We've raised up the area around it in a consistent height at no cost, thanks to the machine and the free dirt, so that this site is actually becoming significantly more usable. And we're not going to do a walk around to the front where we've got plans for next year, but I just wanted to touch on what was possible when you combine outside of the box thinking and really take the time to get in touch with your values and build something very unique up from there. Anything you want to add to that, Alistair?
No, I think that pretty much covers it, actually.
Yeah, and and finally, I just want to say that resale value-wise, Alistair's going to be adding around $200,000 to the value of his home. But with him doing this work, he's saving at least $100,000 over the cost of having it all professionally done. So this is just one side of the spectrum of projects, but hopefully it'll inspire you all. And the last thing was Alistair used the 15% coupon at the back of the book from American Soils and saved $300 off of his upcoming material orders just by lumping all the materials into one receipt and negotiating that with them. So the book that you have just received can be quite valuable. So hopefully we'll have fun in this class in our next design.